Mr. Chairman, thank you for this work, and I want to thank our panelists for being here. And clearly, with the size of the crowd we have here today, there's a tremendous amount of interest in this technology. And I'm kind of proud that Nevada's been one of the leaders in driverless technology. We were the very first state to pass autonomous vehicle legislation in 2011 that paved the way for testing. And last year, Nevada also passed a full implementation of autonomous vehicles for personal and commercial use. And we now have autonomous trucks and buses that are testing on our roads. So in Nevada, we have nearly 500,000 seniors. We have about 275,000 disabled individuals. We also have 300,000 veterans. I think my father-in-law and my father fall in all three of those categories. But needless to say that these individuals, this technology will bring them, I think, greater independence and greater mobility. Having said all that, my experience in this is, without telling you my age, everybody younger than me loves this technology. Everybody that's older, they're a little worried about this technology. And so we got a lot of work to do. But I do believe that there's a real opportunity. I know that most people on this panel have probably at one time or another had an opportunity to be in an autonomous vehicle. I did. In fact, 20 years ago, I was at CES, and they had the latest and greatest piece of equipment, and that was a hydrogen vehicle that could go about 60 miles on a tank of gas at 30 miles an hour and cost $1 million. Here we are 20 years later. Tesla has Model 3, and it's $35,000. It'll go 500 miles, and it'll go 80 miles an hour. So it's amazing how much things have changed in the last 20 years. In fact, last year at CES, I was in an Audi with Delphi technology and was able to drive 7 miles on the freeway, get off the freeway in an autonomous vehicle. There was somebody in the driver's seat, but their hands were off the wheel and were off the brakes and the gas pedal. It's just fascinating to see just what has happened in the last 20 years. Mr. Kentley Clay, you talked a little bit about the future, and I know Senator Nelson talked about 20 years from now. It sounds like to me that the equipment and the technology that you're offering sounds like 20 years from now, no one will own a vehicle.
Senator Heller, thank you for your question. I think it was in 1908 that the Model T Ford shipped. How long did it take before the coach builders were out of business? If you look back historically, it was around 2 decades. I think with the safety case of this technology and how quickly we can advance it, well within 2 decades, I think everyone will be driving automated vehicles or using shared automated mobility. Because that's what we need to do to make the roads safe.
Talking rural vehicles or rural areas, I'm part of that 1% of those farmers you were mentioning. We had 303 vehicular deaths last year in Nevada. More than half of them were done in the rural portions, happened in the rural portions of the state. What kind of testing is being done out in the rural portions? And even though it's less than 20% of the population, rural America, it still has a above average vehicular death rate. What are we going to do for the, Mr. Avent, Dr. Avent, you talked about animals and how are we going to assure that in the rural portions where these accidents do occur, that they're being tested?
Yeah, I'm reminded of the Arthur C. Clarke quote, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. This is a really new technology. To people in rural areas or in cities, it might look like magic, but to the developers, this is advanced technology. And we understand what we're building and how it works. And in fact, the way our vehicles are engineered, we don't have to understand that it's a horse or a squirrel or a person to know that there's something there and we need to stop. And so we can engineer the vehicles that understand abstractly what's happening geometrically in the environment to get the requisite safety we need. And what we really need to do is take the public, everyone in America, on the journey of how this technology works so that they can understand it to get the assurance that they need that it's safe.
Let me ask you one more question real quickly before I run out of time, and that is, why was it advantageous for you to go from Australia to the United States to do your work here as opposed to your own home country?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I mean, I think the intersection of creativity, capital, and computer science in America is unprecedented. And to create the technology that we do, we need the engineering depth of talent that's in this country that we can access to scale. We need investors that are brave enough to invest in such an advanced technology. And we need the connections that are in this country, because it's integrated, to bring the right set of peoples together, even working with you today, to make this technology a reality.
Thank you, Senator Heller.